about performance. Why do you perform? What are you trying to accomplish when you perform? Just give me some thoughts, and I'm going to put them on the board. Sure. Move the audience. Ah, what a great goal. So I'm going to write it pretty small, but it's just for a visual for you. Okay, move the audience. Okay, what else? Sure. Come on, what are you trying to do?
It's,
sure.
It's fun to play.
Fun. What else? To communicate a specific, convey, to communicate. Okay. I say ideas. I don't know how to spell message. Anything else? Sure.
To impress.
Oh, that's a good one. Impress. Just blow everybody away. Come on, guys.
To express yourself.
Express yourself.
To tell a story.
Tell a story. Tell a story. Express yourself.
Make money.
Make money. Make money.
Religion.
Specify it.
A hymn.
You play in church to give God glory. To glorify God. Okay. Glorify God.
I would say for yourself, sometimes you perform to figure out what you're feeling.
That's an interesting one. To examine yourself, right? Examine yourself. Okay. How about win a competition? Okay. How about win an audition? How about to get asked back? Okay, get a gig. Get a gig. Win competition. What about show off your dress? Am I the only one? And everybody's so quiet. I'm like, is it the, well, this is the new generation of performers. They don't care about clothes. Should I put it on the board? Okay. Show off clothes. What else?
This is strictly during also to improve yourself.
Improve yourself. I'm running out of space. Improve yourself. Okay. What else?
Because you have to.
That's a good purpose. You have to. Because you have to. Okay. To get attention. To get a date. To get a spouse. Some of those YouTube videos, they're not trying to communicate any feelings or ideas. They're just trying to get a spouse. Or make money. Okay. Does anybody ever think about, I know, I'm feeding you some ideas based on, because look, I'm a performer myself. I know what it feels like. And I also done those workshops before, so what about to be perfect, to give a perfect performance? Anybody struggles with that? Okay. So you're going on stage to give a perfect performance. I'm going to say be perfect. How about to not screw up your piece and not make any mistakes? Okay, so I'm getting somewhere here. So we started with move the audience and glorify God, but now when we're getting down to business, there's a lot of other stuff there, right? And the more we keep doing it, the more stuff is going to come on the board. And it's actually a very helpful exercise for you to kind of look deep inside of yourself and write down everything you're actually trying to do when you're on stage. And sometimes, not sometimes, you're gonna see some things which you weren't even aware of. You know, you think you're trying to give glory to God, but you're actually worried about making a living as a musician, right? Be perfect, not screw up. Not screw up. Okay, so I think our work with performance anxiety starts with this board. We have to figure out, what are we trying to accomplish? What are we actually trying to accomplish? And how to do it. So there's a lot of beautiful things on this board, and there's a lot of junk there. So some things on this board, they give you energy, they inspire you, and well, they inspire you. So when you think about it, you're gonna do better. Other things on this board, they take away your energy, they take away your joy. And when you think about them, or you focus on them, you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna lose energy, and you're gonna lose your joy. So the purpose of our work with performance anxiety is to essentially clean up that board. Okay? So we address performance anxiety. When we talk about performance anxiety, we address it on 3 different levels: finger level, mental level, and emotional level. Finger level is your practice, right? You all know you're supposed to practice, right? Okay, good. Good. I thought I'd ask, just in case. Performance is not an accident, it's a direct result of your practicing. If you're practicing Bach Sonata, you're not going to perform Chopin Etude. Right? Now, if you're practicing Chopin Etude and you played it 50 times, and 50 times you screwed up, are you going to perform it well? No. So the performance is a direct result of your practice. So we start the work on performance, we start the conversation about performance anxiety from how we practice. How do we prepare for the performance in such a way that it sets us up for success? The second level of addressing performance anxiety is the mental level. This is our board. What are we trying to do while we perform? What is our focus while we're on stage actively performing? So when I'm actually sitting on stage playing, I'm a pianist, by the way. I know not all of you are, so I'll try to not give only piano examples. When I'm sitting on stage playing Beethoven Sonata, what actually playing? Not a week before, not 5 minutes before, not the next day, but actually during that Beethoven Sonata, what is my purpose? What I'm trying to do? Am I trying to move the audience? Am I trying to have fun with this Beethoven Sonata? That would be pretty cool. Or am I trying to give a perfect performance? Right? And my mental, and what I'm actually trying to do is going to determine how I feel while I'm performing Beethoven Sonata. So it's extremely important to put everything on a piece of paper and then evaluate it. So the part, a large part of working with performance anxiety is basically trying to evaluate and clean up that board. As I said, there's a lot of junk there. Actually, there's not that much junk. I know if I milked you a little longer, the board would be much more full of junk. And there's a third level. I call it emotional level. That's the level, or it has things which are not on the board. The things which you're not even aware of. The things which dwell in your subconscious mind. The things you don't even know you're feeling it. You know, so you're sitting there on stage playing Chopin Etude, and you're trying to glorify God, and then suddenly you make a mistake, and everything goes down the toilet. And you ask yourself, why? Like, why did this F sharp instead of F natural upset me so much that I just lost it, and the rest of the piece just went to pieces? Why did it happen? Does God care about my mistake? If I'm trying to glorify God, why am I so upset about F natural? Right, God? Do you think God cares about your F? Or do you think the audience cares about your F natural instead of F sharp? They didn't hear, and they didn't care, but you were so upset about it. So you have to do the work of figuring out what is actually driving you to perform, what is helping you to perform, and what is hurting you while you're performing. So there is a second part to this workshop. So today is kind of a presentation, a short presentation. And we'll do a longer presentation on Friday from 9 to 11. I think it's in the choir room. On Friday, we're gonna focus more on the mental level and on the emotional level, and how they work together and how they help you and sometimes hurt you, and how to learn to focus on the things which help you and disarm negative, sometimes toxic, destructive ideas and thoughts which hurt your performance, all right? So before, I think I want to mention an important thing. I don't know, you guys seem so serious and so intelligent. I'll have to modify my speech a little bit. I'm like, I look at you and I think you know it all. So, what is performance anxiety? How does it feel? Sorry.
Sweaty hands.
Sweaty hands?
Performance anxiety is like paralyzed, and I can't breathe.
You get paralyzed and you can't breathe.
Uncontrollable shaking and stuttering.
Stuttering and shaking. I mean, it's really great for singers. I mean, you're stuttering. You're just going ka 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 no.
Racing heartbeat.
Racing heartbeat, exactly.
Dry mouth.
Dry mouth. Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Overthinking. That's a really good one. Hold on to that thought. I'm going to talk about that. Exactly. I'm going to go there. Oh my gosh, now we're talking. Now this man is really talking. He knows what he's talking about. What is he? Did you hear him?
No.
He said performance anxiety. I mean, I know, well, you don't even need to hear him because you're all been there, and I've been there. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna screw up. What are the judges gonna think? What is the audience gonna think? They're gonna think I'm an idiot. Oh my gosh. Familiar, right? I know. If it's not familiar, you're lying. You're just lying, and I don't buy that. Okay, so let's focus on our physical sensations for now. The heart is beating, the hands are sweaty, you're shaking, and you just feel like the lunch is not sitting well. It wants to come out on either end and just can't decide whether it's going to come out. So, I mean, you feel bad, right? Why does it happen? What is your body making? Adrenaline, that's right. Your body is making adrenaline. Why is it making adrenaline? Because performing is a very unusual activity. It's an incredibly stressful situation. When you go on stage and you're just one person and you have this huge audience of 50, 100, 5,000 people, and you just walk on stage and you have to hold their attention and control their emotions for any period of time. Let it just be 5 minutes. I mean, do you realize the pressure? Do you realize what you have to do in order to be able to do it successfully? Right? It's an outstanding act. Every person who ever walks on stage is a hero. Every one of you is a hero. I am a hero. He's a hero. We're all heroes. And our body knows it. So it starts pumping adrenaline to allow us to accomplish this extraordinary act of performing. That's what happens to athletes. You know that athletes set world records during the competitions and during the Olympics. They run faster, they jump higher than they ever could do during the practice. You all know that, right? So the same is for us. So next time, when you feel like your heart is beating, your hands are shaking, you're sweaty, your stomach is upset, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm gonna screw up, say thank you. Thank you, my body, for equipping me with what I need to accomplish this extraordinary task which is in front of me. You know, 50% of performance anxiety in some people just boils down to the fact that they're afraid of their natural bodily reactions. This is natural. Your heartbeat is fast. It's natural. It's supposed to be there. Why is your stomach upset? Because your body is sending blood away from your stomach to your brain. It slows down your digestion. You can't really think critically, like, because you just need to execute, right? So basically, don't be afraid of performance anxiety. You have to embrace it. Now, this is good anxiety, which helps us. If we don't get nervous, if we don't get that adrenaline thing, we won't be able to perform. But sometimes you get so nervous that your hands are shaking so much you can't hold your instrument, right? Or sometimes you're so nervous that your mind goes blank. You know, I worked with one young lady. She described it like this. She goes like, I sit down on stage. She had to play hymns in church. I mean, how stressful is that to play hymns in church? I mean, it's just like not stressful. And it's not even organ, it's just piano, okay? She says, I put the hymnal in front of me and the page is blank. I can't see the notes, it's just white. I look at the keyboard and the black keys are white, right? So when you get to that state, you know, that somehow that good thing which is designed to help you somehow crossed into the dark side. So now it's working against you instead of helping you. So this is our goal. How do we prevent that? How do we manage that adrenaline? How do we work with it so it doesn't cross into the dark side, right? Look, there's some simple fixes, very simple, right? So if your heart is beating too fast, if your hands are too shaky and you feel like, oh, okay, I can't do it, and just do some jumping jacks, take a run, right? Do the breathing exercise. When you breathe, imagine you've got a little candle with a flame and you breathe on it like slowly, like, and it slows down your breath, so it helps you to decrease the amount of adrenaline, right? So that's helpful too. But another thing is, we're coming back to our purpose of performance. So now let's talk about the finger level, our practice, because that's 80% of people are, if they just fix their practice, they're going to be better performers. And some people, they think they're bad performers, but they're actually bad practicers. So I run a music school, so we've got 300 students. So we have those massive recitals, right? So the 300 kids play, and invariably somebody blows it, invariably. No, I mean, out of 300 people, like, somebody is bound to give a bad performance. And I always go to that kid afterwards and I ask, I'm trying to comfort them and say, it's okay, so the child is not scarred for life. Okay, that's my job, right? So I go to him and say, oh, honey, it's okay, like, who cares, she'll do better next time. And they go like, I don't understand what happened. I played the piece yesterday. I just memorized it last night and it was just fine. And I just got so nervous. I need your workshop. I need to attend your performance anxiety workshop. And I'm like, honey, you don't need my workshop. My workshop is for people who practice. Okay. I mean, if you have a recital tomorrow and you don't have your piece memorized today, and you still manage to walk on stage, you're either an idiot or you've got the nerve. I mean, the kid's got the nerve. You gotta give it to him. I mean, like, we're not talking about performance anxiety here. We're talking about being uneducated and being irresponsible, right? And I mean, I know you would never do such a thing. Well, I'm sure you've done it. I'm sure you've done it before. Okay? All right. So, performance not an accident. It's a direct result of your practicing. But performance and practice are not the same thing. You need a completely different mindset for performance than you need for practice. Now, when we practice, what is our mindset? What are we trying to do when we practice? Why do you guys practice?
Try to perfect anything that you missed
Exactly.
person.
You're trying to perfect. You're trying to be perfect when you practice, right? What else?
Either trying to improve or make consistency.
These are keywords. My keywords are perfection and stability. Perfection and stability. So we practice, we're constantly trying to achieve perfection. You gotta get that thing perfect. And you gotta get it perfect every time. Because perfect once is not enough. You need to get it 10 out of 10, 19 out of 20, and then you're ready to go on stage. Now, when you go on stage, it's a completely different mindset. Okay? Why? Because all you have is one shot. One shot. There's nothing you can do there's no reason to evaluate yourself. You can't correct yourself. You can't do anything. You have one shot, good, bad, ugly, fabulous. That's it. So it requires a completely different mindset. So when you're practicing, you are constantly evaluating yourself. How did I do? How did this go? Did it go well? Did it go poorly? Did it go well? Did it go poorly? Okay, if it went well, I'm going to play 20 more times to make sure it stays well. If it went poorly, I need to figure out what do I need to do to make it good, right? When you go on stage, you have to leave that mindset behind. There's nothing to evaluate and there's nothing to criticize. So we call these two modes, well, some of us, training and trusting. So when you're practicing, you're training. When you go on stage, you leave that practice mindset behind and you trust yourself. You trust your work, you trust your talent, you trust your God, you trust your teacher. Teacher and God, almost in the same category. And you just go and do. You just go and you just play. And you have to be able to function successfully in both modes, and you have to not mix them up. People get in trouble when they mix them. And I invariably see it with students. Sometimes I walk through the hallway and I see the practice rooms, and I see some person is practicing there, and they're just playing through something at top speed, like invariably some fast and furious piece, and they're playing it even faster than it needs to go. And the hair is flying, and the kid is all into it, and they're just like so expressive. They make mistakes, they don't notice them, and they don't care because they're carried by the power and glory of music, and they do it for hours. That's what I can't understand. I mean, like, I understand playing through it once, but for hours, and I see this kid, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, and they're really enjoying themselves. Then they come to their piano lesson, and then they immediately get this fear. I gotta be perfect now. The teacher is there. He told me to correct pedal. Okay, I need to be perfect. Well, guess what? They get paralyzed, right? What happens? The person reversed the two modes. When you're in the practice room, that's time to like, okay, I was told to fix the pedal. I was told to do this. Okay, I need to evaluate. I need to figure out. I need to fix it. I need to perfect it. I need to make it stable. When you're at your lesson, it's a show time. You came to show your work, so you play from the beginning to the end. And no matter what happens, you just take it. You make a mistake, you don't go back and, it was good yesterday, I promise. Okay, let me try it again. No, you don't do it. You just play it and you take it. Right? So, you have to understand these two modes. You have to understand that they're different. You have to not mix them. And there's one more important thing. You have to practice the performance mode. Remember that kid I am mocking? It's not some specific kid, it's the kid. I'm mocking, because I'm sure some of you done it before, and I've done it, actually I don't think I've ever memorized the piece the day before. I don't think I've ever done it. I just don't have the guts for it. Okay, I just have too much performance anxiety to be able to do that. So you have to learn your piece ahead of time so that you have a chance to practice your performance mode, your trusting mode, right? That's why you guys have a jury, so preview. Before each recital, your teachers sit together and listen to your preview 2 or 3 weeks before your recital. Why do they do it? You think they don't have better things to do? Then hear your program yet again. They're gonna hear it at the recital. Why do they do it? Because they want to make sure that you guys can play through your piece, through your program, 3 weeks before the recital. So you have 3 weeks to practice your performance mode. And you have to function in both modes successfully. You have to know how to switch from one to the other. When you're just learning the piece, you're only functioning in practice mode. When you know the piece, you have to do both, because if you only just play through the piece over and over again, it's gonna get worse, right? So you do need, there is room for reflection, kind of criticizing, figuring stuff out, right? So, so let's look at our board. Let's take a short look at our board. And do you see this stuff with improve yourself, be perfect, not screw up? Are they supposed to be there? So we need to erase them. Do we erase those things from your entire life? Does perfection not matter? No, we erase them from this board. This is your performance mindset. You have to put them in the proper place. Yes, perfection does matter. You know, and if you go and watch your piece on stage consistently, you will not get a job. Okay? But you have to put it in the proper place. It's in the practice room. Perfection, stability, not screw up, not blow it, not sound like an idiot. All these things, they belong in the practice room. These are practice goals. These are not performance goals. When you step on stage, you leave your practice goals behind because you did it. Okay? And what do you do when you're on stage? You just play. Okay? You don't work the trumpet. You don't work the violin. You play the trumpet. You play the violin. You play the piano. It's a game. It's just a game show on stage. Now, you have to understand the difference, and you have to practice the performance mode. Now, how to do it? It's easy said. It's easier said than done. How do we do it? Okay. So remember, our mindset for practice is evaluating, criticizing. Am I good? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it good? Was it bad? The mindset for performance is accepting. No matter what you did, it's good enough for today. When you're on stage, you have to not evaluate yourself. You have to say, whatever I do, and you just put that fat stamp on whatever you do is good enough. It's good enough for today, and you celebrate no matter what. Okay, you give a performance, you go out with your friends, drink beer, eat cake, or whatever you do. I don't know, I eat cake, half a cake normally. So you celebrate, and you don't celebrate good performances and not celebrate bad. And for the bad performances, you're just crying for a week. No, you celebrate every performance, because there's no such thing as a bad performance. There is no such thing as a bad performance. You have to adopt this attitude. You know, the people who are good performers, they really believe there is no such thing as a bad performance. Right? Now imagine, well, I'm a pianist. In a couple of months, I'm going to give a recital. for example, and you all are gonna say, here's this performance anxiety chick. Let's see what she's worth. Let's go hear her. You're gonna buy a ticket and you're gonna show up at my recital. And I'm gonna walk on stage in my pretty dress, take a fabulous bow. I'm gonna sit down, and I forgot my piece. I'm gonna look up to heaven. I'm gonna look down the keyboard. Crap it. I'm gonna look up to heaven again, and everybody in the audience is thinking, oh my gosh, she's getting in touch with the divine. Well, never mind. She just forgot her piece. Then I'm gonna look down, then I'm gonna think to myself, crap it. Crap that thing. Then I'm gonna gracefully get up, say, wait a minute, I'm gonna prance backstage. Matthew, where's my music? Grab my music, come back on stage, put that damn music on the music stand, and finish my piece with the music. How are you gonna feel? You, the audience. Did I fail? You're gonna love it! Let's be honest here. You're gonna tell all your friends about it. You're gonna be like, there's this Russian chick. She thought she's hot stuff. She talked to us about performance anxiety. But what does she know about performance anxiety? She walked on stage and she just blew it. You're gonna talk about it for the next 10 years. You're gonna invite all, so the next time I play, all your friends are gonna show up. I'm gonna get famous. Guys, there is no such thing as a bad performance. That would be an unforgettable recital in the history of Houston. I mean, I gotta do that, actually. Right? You see what I'm saying? There is no such thing as a bad performance. Now, how I feel, that's how you're gonna feel. You're gonna love it. And you know, the reason I know it, because Sviatoslav Richter did it once. He is this great Soviet pianist of the past. He's like the mountain of the man. I mean, he's like better than Horowitz. He's revered. Everybody bows down to him. So he did it once. He went, played Mozart sonata, got lost in the fugue, screwed up, screwed up, improvised, and finally he stamped his went on backstage, brought out the music, and finished with the music. You know, everybody tells the story. It's like passing down from generation to generation to generation. So it is a good performance. Everything is a performance. That is a performance. Even if I just walk on stage, smile and bow, pick up my violin, think, crap, I don't play violin. I set it down and walk away. It's still a performance. It's funny. It's funny, right? It is a performance. So basically, don't be too serious. Don't think of yourself too much. Basically, no matter what happens, it's okay. Everything is a performance, and it's funny, right? And it all comes to our purpose for performing. Because if my purpose is to walk on stage and hit every note in that Beethoven sonata, then every time I make a mistake, I'm gonna get upset. But if my purpose is to entertain the audience, and then I walk out and screw up, well, the audience is entertained, so I'm doing all right. Right? Look, so basically, in order for you to feel good about your performance, no matter what, you have to set the bar pretty low. Right? There are people, yeah, I'm not kidding, there are people in this world who just walk on stage in a pretty dress and then walk back. And they make more money than us. Do you know who these people are? Models! That's right! And some of them don't even wear a pretty dress. And some of them don't even wear a dress at all. And they make more money than I do, and I can even play. Right? What's wrong with that? Right. So kind of set your bar pretty low. Okay? Now, I'll tell you why. Because in order to play well, Look, I'm not telling you play badly and be happy about it. That's not what I'm saying. If you play badly, eat your cake, drink your beer, and then go back to the practice room and fix it. Because the success of your performance can be fixed only in the practice room. It cannot be fixed on stage. The moment you walk on stage, it's over. You are what you are, you have what you have, you will do what you will do on that day, and there's nothing you can do to change it, and there's no reason to be upset about it. Right? That's the point of my conversation to you. And the people who do well are the people who understand that. There's no reason to beat yourself up over the fact, oh, I missed this bass. How could I've done that? Oh, I forgot the words in that aria. There's no point in doing it. Just go practice your words for the next performance. That's it. That's all you can do. So, in order to play well, you have to be in a certain mindset, right? We call it the zone. You have to be focused on what you're doing. You have to be focused on what's right in front of you. And then you're going to be able to play well, right? Now, that's why it's so important to not evaluate yourself and criticize yourself on stage. Don't put labels on yourself, okay? You know why? Because imagine yourself sitting on stage and playing your instrument or singing. Imagine yourself doing it and tell yourself, I'm doing well. And tell me, how do you feel? I'm doing well. I'm doing well, yeah. Everything is good, I'm doing well. How do you feel? Somebody? Good! You feel good? What else? I feel warm. I feel comfortable. I'm relaxed. I want to play. I'm doing a good job. I'm standing in front of you right now, and then I see some interesting faces, some interested faces. And I was just like, okay, I'm doing well. I'm doing okay. Okay, I feel good. I'm comfortable. I want to keep doing it, and I want to do a good job. And I feel energized, and I want to give. You know? Now imagine yourself sitting on stage and giving, and now tell yourself, I'm doing a bad job. How do you feel? You feel bad? You feel horrible? You get paralyzed. Some people get paralyzed, and you go, I get tense. Like, I can't play well when I'm tense. The moment I get that thought that, oh no, I'm doing badly, oh, somebody yawned in the audience. I'm doing badly, I'm failing, someone yawned. You guys, you better not yawn, okay? Because it's bad for me. Don't yawn. Or cover your mouth. If your parents didn't teach you, I'm telling you now, if you yawn, cover your mouth. You know, then, and I feel like, oh no, I just want to disappear, I want it to be over, I want to be out of here. Right? So, good or bad, these are relative things. But good and bad, they have a lot of emotional baggage attached to it. So when you're on stage and you think, oh, I'm doing well, you're gonna play well. But the moment you tell yourself, oh no, I'm failing, it's gonna disrupt your focus. And it's gonna take away your joy, take away your energy, and you just wanna run. Okay? That's why it's so vitally important to not do it to yourself. You have to control the words you're telling yourself. The thoughts which come to your mind, you have to control. Because every thought which comes to your mind carries some feelings with it and carries an emotional response. And you have to be careful about it. That's why this board is so important. Because what you tell yourself, how do you decide if you're doing well or you're doing badly? You decide it based on your purpose. If my purpose is to give, to share my heart with the audience, when I play B flat instead of B natural, that's not gonna upset me. I mean, it's just life, right? It's life. Everybody makes mistakes all the time. This is our life as a musician. If you have trouble making mistakes, you shouldn't be a musician. Because mistakes are our bread and butter. That's all we do. tell you a little story. I need to make sure we're staying on schedule. So when I was a little student, my mom is a pianist, was a pianist as well, and she was a piano teacher. So she knew what it was like to walk on stage, and she served me well. She did a good job with me. She believed that the purpose of performing was to be expressive and be passionate. And that's the only thing she cared about, and that's how she lived it. She showed it to me. She never evaluated my performance based on how many mistakes I made or what grade I got. The only thing she was interested in, if I played with passion and expression. I mean, it sounds like there's a funny phrase in Russian. It's not as funny in English. But, so I would go play my jury, come home, and she'd be like, how did you do? And I was just like, well, like I'm like 8 years old or 9 years old. And I start, well, I don't know. So I played the first piece and it was all right. Then the second piece, I missed that bass note and then the trill didn't come out. I don't care. Did you play with passion and expression? And again, I'm 9 years old. What do I know? I was like, well, I don't know. I guess I did. Because that's it. That's the only thing which counts. And you know what? It stuck with me. To this day, every time I make a mistake on stage, it doesn't bother me. Because the only thing I am concerned with is, am I being expressive? And boy, those mistakes are sometimes very expressive. You know, so, and that's just that, her setting this purpose for me as a child really helped me all my professional life. And some of you have parents who had that attitude, and they gave it to you. Some of you had childhood teachers who gave it to you. But some of you have parents who didn't know better. They didn't know. They didn't attend my seminar. Some of your teachers should have attended my seminar, and they didn't. Some of your teachers might have not been good performers themselves, and they might have scarred you and gave you a wrong purpose for performance, and you carry it. But now you're an adult, and it's your responsibility to evaluate your purpose and set your own purpose, the one which helps you perform, and not the one which hurts you. So this is the purpose of our work. So if you struggle with performance anxiety and it's really bad, like if you freeze on stage, we're gonna talk about freezing on stage on Friday, routinely. If you always perform below your normal standard, and your teacher tells you like, yeah, you should have played better, right? If you think you performed below your standard and your teacher is like, no honey, you just got lucky, that's not it. But if you're routinely performing below your standard, this is the work you should do for yourself. And it will really help you perform. So there's some more junk on this board. I'd like to address that before we finish. There's all this stuff about getting a job, getting a gig, impressing other people, making money, all that stuff. It's not going to help you perform, okay? Because this is not something in your control. You're not the one giving a job yourself. You're not the one giving yourself a grade. You're the one who is playing Paganini Caprice. You're the one who is singing the aria. The only thing you can control is your breath and how you play, okay? And whether you get the job with that kind of performance, it's not up to you to decide. So therefore, when you're on stage, don't think about, if you're gonna get asked back, what is this person gonna think of you? Am I gonna get a date? How much money they're gonna pay me? Because all these things, they're not in your control, and they take away your joy, and they take away your energy. So you need to delete them from this board. So I'm gonna go delete them now, if I find my scrunchie. Get a gig. Show off clothes. make money. Let's get rid of it. Examine yourself. Get rid of it. You're examining yourself in the practice room. When you're on stage, you don't examine yourself. You just play. And take it. And whatever happens, you just take it. Well, or you can reframe it. You can say, I want to explore myself. Because performing is an interesting experience. I want to explore this experience, right? That's you taking something which has a negative connotation and you're turning it into positive. And now, it's easy to say to get rid of it. And some of you, just delete them from the board is good enough. Because you have this visual and you're gonna walk out of here and say, you know what? I am just not gonna worry about making mistakes on stage anymore. And you're gonna be just fine. And you're gonna thank me after it and say, well, all you needed is just to hear that the purpose of performance is not to make no mistakes. Because make no mistakes belongs into practice. It's not the performance, right? But others of you, you're gonna struggle a little. Because you want to delete it, but you can't. So how do you delete it? You go back to your values. What do you actually value, you as a person? And you stand on these values. Like, for example, when I was asked to speak to you, I was so excited. I was jumping up and down. I mean, it was ridiculous. You know, I've been performing for 40 years. I've been putting little people on stage for 25 years. I have a lot of experience I battle performance anxiety in myself, in my students, and I help with it my little child, who's also a little pianist. So I have a lot of experience, and I see what happens to my students when we work on it together. I see the improvement. I know I have something to give. I know that stuff is good. It works, it helps. I've seen people and it helped people. I want to give it to you, right? I'm excited. I thought about it for 3 weeks. I was just jumping up and down and thinking, what am I gonna tell these kids? Now I'm looking at you, boy, you're not kids. You're not kids, you're adults. What am I gonna tell these adults? And I'm so excited to speak to you because you're here now, okay? There's 2 best music schools in Texas, and you're in one of them. You're the music elite of Texas. The music future of Texas belongs to you. I am so excited to speak to you. And when I say that, I feel energized, I want to talk. But then I get that thought. These kids are not going to listen to you. They're just going to take one look and say, I heard it all, she's weird. Or they're going to search their phones, stupid phones. Or they're going to yawn at your face. And they're going to do nothing. They're not going to listen to you. Nothing is going to change. Nothing will happen. How do I feel? I don't even want to stand up and talk, right? Or another one, the teachers your professors who invited me to speak, they're going to hear me and they're going to say, oh my gosh, she's horrible, take her away. And they will never ask me back. How do I feel? I want to die, okay? So what do? I go back to my values. It's not important what other people think of myself. It's not important. I have no control over it. And if they don't like me, if you guys don't like me, guess what? Your loss. Your loss. I know my stuff is good. I know my stuff works. If you take it, if you implement it, one day you're gonna get a seat in Houston Symphony or New York Philharmonic. And when it happens to you, you're gonna shoot me an email and say, I remember 7 years ago you spoke to us and you really inspired me. I know my stuff is that good. And whether you like it or not, it's up to you. It's your gain or your loss. You see what I'm saying? Now, the reason, okay, let me see if I'm doing on time. The reason I can afford to say it, yes, I don't care what you guys think, but I do care who I am. So I don't spend time worrying about what you people think of me, or what they people think of me. I spend my time investing in who I am. Do we have a little, okay, 5 more minutes. Do you guys want dating advice? You're getting awfully quiet. Okay, that's off the record, okay? Off the record. That's not what I'm paid to do. Okay, but I'm sure you can, again, goes back to my mom. My mom was like an amazing woman. So here I am, like 12 years old, 13 years old, and to my greatest horror, I discover my nose. Well, when I see myself in the mirror like this, my nose is okay. But if I turn like this, it's huge. And somewhere around age 12, I figured out that if you hold 2 mirrors, you can see your own profile. And then everything came together. That's why nobody likes me. That's why I have no friends. And then no one will ever marry me with a nose like that. And I mean, I was devastated. I was devastated. And of course I had no friends, and of course I cried about it. And nobody wanted to date me. I was 13 years old. Nobody wanted to date a 13-year-old. Well, okay, never mind. So, well, nobody wanted to date me when I was 16, and it was devastating. And you know what my mom kept telling me? She said, honey, calm down. Calm down. Your nose is just fine. Look at all these other women. They all have those perfect noses, and they all look the same. But your nose is unique. It sets you apart. And there will be one very smart man who is going to value your nose and value your heart and really treasure who you are. And that's going to be a very smart man, and you want a smart man. The man who doesn't want to date you is A, blind, B, an idiot. Yet you don't want a blind idiot, right? Go find yourself someone smart. And you know, it really stuck. It really stuck. It stuck in my dating life. Because she repeated it so many times and it kind of went in the right way. It stuck in my dating life. It stuck in my professional life. That's how I feel about students. That's how I feel about all the professional engagements. That's how I feel about my friends. You know, I don't care if somebody doesn't like me. Too bad for that, it's their loss. But I do care who I am. You know, I'm a good wife, all right? So I did find a smart man who married me. And that's how I got my citizenship. I did find one smart man in the city of Houston, but all you need is one. You don't need an army, all you need is one. But look, I do care who I am. I'm fun. I'm loving. My house is beautiful. I'm a good mother, and I'm really good at cooking. If you guys taste my pie, you know my husband will never improve from there. And I do care who I am. That's why, when I was your age, I practiced 4 to 6 hours a day, every day, because I cared about being good. I don't care what other people think. I don't care if they hire me or not hire me. It's their gain or their loss. But I do care how good I am. So I practiced, and I practiced very hard. Because I knew that every day I get up in the morning and I touch my instrument, I am putting a brick in the building of my musical future. And the more bricks I put into this building, the more glorious palace I'm gonna have. And I worked tirelessly, and I went to concerts, and I listened to my teachers. I did everything I could possibly do so I can become good, so that I can become successful, and I can stand in front of you now and say, I don't care what everybody thinks, because there's enough people who like me. Okay? So basically, when you go on stage, coming back to the performance, when you go on stage, your destiny is not going to be decided that 10, 30, 60 minutes when you're sitting on stage. You know, that's not, the performance is not something which is gonna make you or break you. What is gonna make or break your career is the stuff you do in the practice room right now, today, tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. So use this time wisely, because you're building right now who you are as a musician and as a person. And that you're building your own worth and your own value. And that value is gonna determine what kind of career in music you're gonna have. So treat this time wisely, and when you go on stage, you just play. You just play. And don't worry about being perfect, because there's enough recordings out there, perfect recordings. Don't worry about being the fastest, the most impressive musician who ever walked on earth, because that's not what's important. Because you are unique, your heart is unique, and your message is unique. And when people come in to hear you, they're coming to experience art. They're coming to experience, to connect with you and feel what you feel. And no one will take it away from you. And playing C sharp instead of C natural is not going to disrupt that. So realize your purpose, find your purpose, and just go on stage and have fun. So that's all for today. That's my best for today, folks.